Children are responsible for nearly half of all the fires that are deliberately set in the U.S. That's according to San Diego's Burn Institute. Joining me with how the courts deal with juveniles accused of serious crimes is my guest, Deputy District Attorney Michelle Lindley, Chief of the county's Juvenile Division. And Michelle, does the DA's office see very many cases that involve juvenile arson suspects?
We see as many cases in juvenile as we do in adult, all different kinds of crimes. So yes, we see anywhere over the last 5 years between 18 in a year to 40 in a year.
That might surprise some people, but I understand that juvenile arson is actually something that happens across the country.
It does, and lots of times it's not arson like people would think of with a pyromaniac. It's more of fire setting. So there are things that are going on in that minor's life, whether it be mental health issues or family issues, and how they act out and how they release that pressure is through fire setting.
The 14-year-old girl at the center of the Cocos arson case was tried as a juvenile. How does the DA's office determine if they'll try a suspect as a juvenile or an adult?
Well, first of all, under the law, we can't try anyone that's under the age of 14 at the time the crime occurred as an adult. That's the law. But then there are two different ways that it can be done. It can be done by asking a judge, do you think this person should be in adult court? Or the judge, the DA can make the decision herself. And so you look at things like how old they are, how sophisticated they were, what type of crime, what their prior history was. All those things are looked at, and then when we're talking about a direct file, the DA makes the decision herself.
And in this case, the Cocos fire case, the girl was 13 at the time that the fires were set.
Correct.
I see. How are juveniles generally sentenced within the juvenile court system?
In the juvenile court system, the goal is rehabilitation, so it's very different than the adult court. So there's no standard sentence. Whereas you could say someone has a driving under the influence in adult, certain things are going to happen. In juvenile, they look at each minor, what their prior record is, what their family is like, what their school is like, and then they tailor something directly for that minor, so you can't ever say exactly what someone would get for a crime that's committed.
Does it go on their criminal record if it's a serious crime?
It can. So certain crimes are what they call 707B offenses. That's a Welfare and Institutions Code charge, and those cannot be sealed. Normally a case would be, everything would be confidential and that record would be sealed, but these types of charges, the 707B, very serious charges, are not sealed and they are open.
When it comes to a juvenile correction facility, we have them here in San Diego, how is it different from like the adult correction facilities?
It's all based once again on rehabilitation. So they're going to school even though they're in custody. They have mental health services available. They have a lot of services right there in the facility. It's not just sitting there downtime. It's working with them to make sure that they're going to be able to do better when they come out.
When it comes to juvenile arson cases, first, we'll start with that. Do parents face any consequences if it's determined that these teens, let's say, or 18, has started a fire?
They can. If there's restitution ordered in a case, then they would be also liable for a certain percentage of the restitution. If the minor is in a facility, a detention facility, they actually pay for the daily cost of that facility. If they go to a mental health facility, they can pay for that. They also lose a little bit of control in that if they want their child to stay out till 9, but the court has said that child's curfew is 6, that's the way it is. Or if they can't have a cell phone, those types of things.
And the court sort of determines that that aspect of it.
Yes.
When it comes to programs, let's say a juvenile is sentenced to some sort of rehabilitation or probation to try to help them, what sort of programs are out there, or who determines where they go and what they do?
The probation department does a social study, which is like a sentencing report, and they make recommendations to the judge about what should happen, whether they should have mental health services, whether they should go to treatment as far as drug treatment, whether they should be in a certain school. There's a lot of different services. They have what they call wraparound, where they bring people into the family to help them learn how to work together as a family and respect each other.
What do you think the community can take away from this Cocos case fire?
I just think that you always have to, kids are kids, and you always have to be there for them. You have to listen to them. And that's our responsibility as a parent, not to always be a friend. Sometimes we have to be the bad guy. Sometimes we have to look at things they don't want us to look at. But that's how you keep them out of the juvenile justice system.
Michelle Lindley, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.